Somewhere along the way, people get the idea that you need expensive gear, a perfectly isolated room, and a professionally built recording space before you're allowed to take voiceover seriously. And that mindset delays more voice actors than lack of talent or skills ever does. Now, this video is part of the Voiceover Growth Challenge, a year-long, month-by-month series designed to help aspiring and beginner voice actors build real-world momentum through small, focused, practical actions. Each month, we work on something different. Each month, the goal is progress, not perfection. And this month, we're talking about your recording space. Not upgrades, not shopping lists, not shiny new microphones, but fundamentals. Because your room shapes your sound more than your mic ever will. One of the biggest beginner misconceptions in voiceover is believing that audio problems are mostly gear problems. They usually aren't. Usually, they are environment problems. Reflections, noise, echo, poor positioning, uncontrolled space. You can record on a fantastic microphone and still sound amateurish if your recording environment is working against you. But you can also get surprisingly strong results from pretty modest equipment if your space is controlled well. Let's get right into it with Challenge 1. Evaluate your recording environment and noise floor. Now, before improving anything, you need to understand what it is that you're working with. And a lot of beginners skip this step entirely. So here's what I want you to do. First, go into the space that you are most likely to do your recording in. If you've got a microphone set up, great. If not, set up your phone with your voice recorder app and record, see if you can put it on a little tripod or a little stand. Position it kind of near you and record from there. So I want you to record then 10 seconds of silence, then record a short voice sample, maybe like 30 seconds of something. You could even just pick up a book and pick out 2 paragraphs of a passage to read for 30 seconds. And I want you to listen back to both of those with a set of headphones. But we're adding one very important layer here. We're going to pay attention to something called your noise floor. What is that? Well, your noise floor is the level of background sound that's present in your recording when you are not speaking. Even in what you would think of as a quiet room, there's always some sort of sound. Computer fans, an HVAC system, maybe traffic, electrical noise, just the general room ambiance if there's echo or reflections. So noise floor is simply the measurement of how loud that background sound is. And in this instance, for being a voice actor, a lower noise floor is better. Now, most recording software will show you your input levels in decibels. Looks like a small d and a capital B. When you record that 10 seconds of silence, I want you to watch the meter in your recording software, and I want you to note where that input signal tops out at. What's the number that it tops out? The typical targets for beginner home studios, if you have an excellent noise floor, you're looking at around minus 60 decibels or lower. Minus 50 to minus 60 is pretty usable. But if your noise floor is maxing at higher than minus 50 decibels, you definitely need some improvement. Now, don't panic if your number isn't great. That is incredibly normal, particularly if you're just starting out. The point of this challenge is building awareness, not perfection, and not necessarily fixing the problem. Why? Because you cannot intelligently improve what you haven't measured. So when you play back your recordings, in addition to measuring your noise floor, notice things like constant background noise, any intermittent sounds, any echo or things that sound roomy, like you're in a hallway, or any really harsh reflections. This challenge alone trains one of the most important skills in voiceover, and that is critical listening. Not only does it come in useful for your background noise and your noise floor, but you need to build your critical listening skills when you're listening to passages that you've recorded. You have to be able to criticize and critique what you hear. Challenge number 2, improve your sound using what you already have. So now that you've heard your space, now we move into controlled improvement. And this is where beginners often discover something surprising, that better sound does not automatically require spending money. Sound quality is largely about absorption and control, not fancy gadgets. Reflections off of surfaces cause echo. Hard surfaces bounce sound, creating that echo. Soft, dense materials absorb sound. So that means that your house is already full of potential acoustic tools. Closets filled with clothing, any kind of clothing or coats, blankets, soft furniture, corners where sound isn't going to bounce straight back at you, it's going to bounce against each other. You're not necessarily building a gorgeous studio right now. You have to learn how to shape the behavior of sound that's coming out of your mouth. So your task in this challenge, create a temporary or improved recording zone using available materials around your house. Think about some of those things that I just listed and figure out where you might be able to help improve the sound isolation around your recording space. And then I want you to re-record your 10-second silence sample and re-record the very same 30-second voice sample that you recorded in the first challenge. I want you to listen to those again on headphones, and then I want you to listen to the Challenge 1 recordings back to back with the Challenge 2 recordings and compare them in your ears. This exercise is wildly educational. It totally shifts your mindset from, I need better gear, to I need better control of the sound in my room. Now, if you want a clearer understanding of what actually improves studio sound and what beginners often get wrong, you're going to want to watch my video. I'll put a card up here. Watch my video called What Acoustic Treatment Does Your Home Studio Actually Need? That video will help you avoid one of the most expensive beginner mistakes, which is buying things that don't solve your actual problem. So be sure to check that out when you get through the first 2 challenges in this month's topic. All right, so then challenge 3 for this month: optimize what you already have if you have gear purchased already. If you already have a microphone, maybe you even have some sort of booth set up, whether it's something you've purchased or a DIY configuration. Maybe you've got some acoustic foam panels on your walls. Any kind of starter setup. This challenge is really going to help you. And even if you don't have those things yet, these are things that you can start to keep in mind as you start to assemble your gear. Because just buying the gear and owning the gear is not the same as optimizing the gear. Small adjustments can really produce dramatic improvements in your sound. So in your space, with your microphone, record a short sample. It's basically we're doing experimentation here. Then I want you to change one variable only. Maybe that's mic distance to your mouth. Maybe it's mic angle to your face. Maybe it is where in the room you have your microphone set up, against a wall, against a window, in a corner, in the middle of the room. Change the noise source management. Maybe turn off your furnace for an hour, for 10 minutes and record it again. Change one variable, not all of them. Change one variable record your passage again, and compare the sound. Did it improve or did it stay the same? If it improved, could you improve it a little bit more with that same variable? Once you've exhausted those thoughts and experiments with one variable, then move on to the next variable, and so on until you've gone through a list of variables to try to optimize the equipment that you have. Optimization beats upgrading your equipment and shelling out money to do that every single time. You don't want to spend money on bigger, better, expensive gear until you are getting the most out of the gear that you already have. And if at that point you really feel the only other option is to spend some money and invest in better gear, then by all means, go ahead and do that. But make sure you've optimized the gear you have first. Here's an important perspective for this month. Notice that there's a common thread with all three of these challenges. None of them require a purchase, and that's intentional because studio anxiety, that, belief that you must spend money to make progress, it traps a lot of beginners. And quite frankly, there are plenty of voiceover coaches out there who I have seen say that you really shouldn't try to start recording until you've invested $10,000 into gear. And while maybe that works for some people and in certain situations, I don't think that that is a 100% true thing all of the time. And so I think that there are other ways to go about it. And we're all about kind of making voiceover a little more accessible for everyone here at Mastering the Microphone. Good sound is really mostly about decisions that you make and about awareness of your recording environment, not necessarily about budgets, at least not right away. Now, if you'd like structured guidance on what a voiceover studio typically evolves into, well, you're going to want to check out my free Voice Actors Home Studio Starter Pack. I will say, yes, there are product suggestions and links if you are wanting to go down that path, but I want to be crystal clear about something. You do not have to buy anything that is in this free PDF packet in order for it to be valuable. Many people use the Voice Actors Home Studio Starter Kit purely for planning, prioritizing, understanding upgrade paths, and setting studio goals. It's basically just as useful as a roadmap as it is for a starter shopping guide. So if you don't have that, if you haven't downloaded it, it is absolutely free. I will leave a link for it down in the description. Listen, studios are not built in a day. Studios are not built in one purchase. They are built through better choices, better awareness, better control. Your goal is not a perfect studio, not today, not right now. Your goal is a progressively improving recording environment that someday you're going to step back and look at and say, yeah, I have a pretty darn good studio that I built, and I understand how it works the way it does. Now, next month, inside the Voiceover Growth Challenge, we are shifting away from gear and into performance. Next month's topic for month 4 is going to be script interpretation and practice. Because once your voice is properly warming up like you did in month 2, and your recording space is behaving like you're tackling this month, your vocal delivery becomes the next growth step that we're going to tackle. Make sure that you are signed up for the free email club. That link is down in the description that goes along with this challenge so that you can get the free printable PDF packets and worksheets that go along with this month's challenge. And finally, while this month is absolutely not about buying studio toys, let's be honest, some of you are going to browse anyway. If that's you, that's okay. And I want you to watch my Gifts for Voice Actors video series. It covers recommendations for studio gear, gifts, products, things that help out a voice actor each and every day at every budget level. I'm talking free, I'm talking budget-friendly products, mid-range products, and even serious investment products, the kind that are over $1,000. Basically, I've put all 4 of these videos together so that you can explore gear that I would recommend intelligently instead of just going out and impulse shopping. So, if you want to browse, by all means, go for it. Otherwise, good luck with this month's challenges. Remember, you've got this. I'll see you again soon.